Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA Daily Analysis. So NVIDIA finally recovered today a little bit. As I expected last week that NVIDIA should recover early this week. Now let's further discuss NVIDIA price movement for today and try to make an assessment for rest of the week. Starting with the daily summary, Nvidia opened at 120.35. It made a high 124.07. It made a low 119.86 and it closed at 123.54. That is 4.76% up. Last 5 days, Nvidia is down 3.79%. Last 1 month, 4.6% up. So last 6 months, Nvidia is still up 107%, slightly higher than what we saw on Friday. On Friday, it was below 100%. So it's good to see that Nvidia finally is getting momentum before the earnings. Now, let's take a look forward PE for Nvidia, SMCI, Palantir, and AMD and try to make some assessment. Nvidia forward PE at this point is at 43.17, higher than the last Friday forward PE, but is still lower than the last 6 weeks of average, and that is 46.19. Palantir, no major change, still 86.24. SMCI 25.19, slightly below than Friday. This tells that SMCI is not showing a positive momentum since last few days. I was expecting SMCI to go up today, but I'm positive that it should recover before the earnings for SMCI. And last 6 weeks of forward P for SMCI is at 27.35. So the current forward P is still lower than the last 6 weeks of forward P. So this tells me that it's not a bad price to buy for SMCI and keep it for some time. AMD forward P is 44.92. It's slightly lower than the last 6 weeks of average, and that is 47.48. Now let's take a look at NVIDIA historical data and try to do some comparative analysis. You see this graph on your screen. This shows percentage increase or decrease for NVIDIA for this quarter, and this tells cumulative percentage. This quarter after earnings, NVIDIA went up, but after the end of the first month, NVIDIA started going down, as we saw last week Friday. At this point, Nvidia showing some recovery, but is still lower than the last month cumulative percentage change. You see that at the end of the last month after earnings, Nvidia was 35% up from the day earnings was announced. And at this point, Nvidia is around 25% from the day earnings was announced. So it's 10% down from the end of the last month till now. And if we look at the historical data for last quarter, we see the same behavior. See that after the end of the first month, Nvidia started going down, last quarter as well, and by the end of the second month after earnings, Nvidia was still down. So there was some reduction, probably about 10 or 12% from the end of the first month after earnings. So Nvidia at this point in this quarter trending in the same direction and showing the same behavior. And tomorrow is the end of the second month after earnings. We'll see how Nvidia ends up tomorrow. Now let's take a look technical charts. You see 90-day hourly interval chart for Nvidia and also Bollinger Bands. As you notice, Bollinger Bands started going up. The gap between the upper band and the lower band started expanding as we expected on Friday. And I also mentioned that this behavior or this trend looks similar to this one. Okay. And I also had the opinion that Nvidia should show some recovery this week. Looking at this chart, right? It went up, down, and then showed some recovery. So similar behavior I was expecting in this cycle as well. So far it started showing the same behavior. So this means that we should expect more recovery this week based on the Bollinger Bands. Now let's take a look MACD chart. You see MACD chart also started showing some positive momentum for Nvidia. MACD line going up further than the zero line, and that's a good sign. This also tells that this week Nvidia should close higher than the last week closing price. Now let's take a look Fibonacci levels. You see Fibonacci levels on your screen. As we noticed on Friday, the next level of support was 117, and I mentioned to you guys that 117 is a strong support level based on my understanding, and after that it was 111. But I was not expecting Nvidia to go down to 111 sometime early this week. So far, Nvidia is above 122. That was the next resistance level. It already broke that resistance level. And after that, the next resistance is 129.49. And 129.49, in my opinion, is a strong resistance level. And I'm hoping that Nvidia should maintain its positive momentum this week. Now, let's take a look at news regarding Nvidia. You see news regarding Nvidia and overall market on your screen. Today, I do not see anything specific or different from last week regarding Nvidia. There are some price target increases for Nvidia today. For example, this one, Loop Capital maintains buy on Nvidia, raises the price target to 175. The Piper Sandler also adjusts the price target on Nvidia to 140 from 120. So that kind of makes sense. 140 for this quarter, as my price projection for this quarter is also around 140. So most of the news today is about how Nvidia bounced back today, but no further details or data I see today that we can use to predict Nvidia price movement for rest of the week. So pretty generic news and analysis I see today. And no news is a good news. So this means that the sell-off that we saw last few days was temporary, and we should not expect a bearish trend has started on Nvidia or going to start. There can be correction here and there, but I'm not expecting like 20 or 25% drop that we saw 2 years back on Nvidia. Now let's take a look other AI stocks. So starting with SMCI that got the most negative change today, that is 1.32%. After that is Palantir, then Amazon, and then Apple. SoundHound, Microsoft, Avago, AMD, and Nvidia all positive today. The highest positive change on my watch list is on Nvidia, that is 4.76%. Now let's take a look economic calendar to see if there is any economic data due this week. As we noted last week, there was not much coming this week. Monday, quiet. Tuesday, nothing much. Wednesday, not much. And Thursday, nothing big coming up. But Friday, we have the PC index data coming, and that's very important. That should tell how the inflation is doing for this month. I guess that's all about NVIDIA analysis and assessment for today and rest of the week. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more tomorrow. Take care.